Vamos a ver. Ajá. Wonderful. Today I am here. No, this is in the center of Donetsk. Is I think it's 12th of August 2016. And well, if you are here, it's because you are one of my followers, watching my videos, or maybe you are a member of my group in Facebook. And then, well, this is a Gonzo blogger. Follow me because I am always telling the truth. No, this is my
the truth.
And then, you know, today is it's Monday, a very hot day, very warm day here in Donetsk. And I had here some special friend that came yesterday. I was it's my colleague. Let's say that is not really my colleague, but he is a blogger as well as me, like me. That is Gleb, okay, Gleb, and then, you know, now you are here, yes, I want to ask you some question, Gleb. You are Gleb, you are from, where are you coming from?
Well, it's a long story.
Yeah.
I've moved around a lot, but I consider that I am from Russia. I'm Russian.
You are Russian, born in Russia?
Right, I was born in Leningrad. I still consider it Leningrad. Many people call it St. Petersburg now, but Leningrad will always be Leningrad to me. Then I lived in the north, in Syktyvkar, which is kind of a northern town, and also in the south. So I spent my time in the summers in the south in Mariupol on the Azov Sea. So that's part of Donbass. And so I consider myself part of Donbass as well.
You are a Russian from Leningrad, but you have a very nice accent, English accent, no?
Well, thank you, yes. After we moved around a little bit around Russia, finally ended up in Moscow. And then from Moscow in 1996, my parents took me to Canada.
To Canada, no?
Yes, and so the rest of the way I grew up in Canada.
So you has been educated mainly in Canada, no?
Right, for the past 20 years.
20 years. So you spent maybe 5 years, no? Only in Russia, no?
No, well, I spent much of my life in Russia until I was 15.
And later you left to Canada.
And after that I left for Canada. And
you went to study there, no? In the high school, no? Later in the university, no?
I finished 3 years of high school there, grade 10, grade 11, grade 12, then university, then law school.
Which city? Which city are you living in Canada?
Well, right now I'm in Vancouver.
Vancouver.
Right, but before that it was Toronto. I was there for work. Right now I'm in Vancouver for work. So it changes. The nature of my profession is such that I have cases everywhere.
You told me that you are a lawyer. No?
I'm a lawyer, yes.
You are a lawyer, no? And then you had in Vancouver, let's say, a nice life, no?
It's not bad. I like it. I miss Russia a lot. So that part of my emotional life will always remain with Russia, and that's the part I lack in Vancouver. But overall, the life is very comfortable. It's very pleasant.
I know that in Vancouver there is a lot of musicians, no? The indies, no? The indie scene, no? Independent scene, no? I think, no?
Yeah, there are plenty of musicians in Canada. I think more so in Toronto, but Vancouver used to be a center for a lot of music. Yes, definitely.
And then why you are here? Or I know that you started 2 years or something like this years ago to post, no? You created a group, no, or a blog actually that is called Slavyangrad, no? Slavyangrad.org.
Right, Slavyangrad.org. Yes.
And you created, no, this blog, no?
Well, I founded it. I started it. I think really people who created it are the team that I found, and. The way I started it, I started translating news reports coming out of Donbass, briefings, military briefings, strategy pieces about what was going on the ground in Donbass, particularly military stuff. That's how I started. And then from there on, I just finally came to a point where the body of the work was large enough and substantial enough and important enough that it needed its own place. So while I was publishing on other people's blogs, and I had presence on Saker's blog and several places, I finally decided it was time to have a separate home for this collection of translations. And once you do that, it no longer becomes your own project. You need other people to help you along, to move it along. You need an editor, you need other languages eventually. So one of the first other languages was Spanish, and that has now become our premier publication in Spanish.
Yes, because you have you came here 2 days ago even with a Spanish journalist.
Right, Nahia, that's right.
That is there, no? Say something.
Nahia's sitting right there.
Hola, no?
She's really tired.
Hola, buenas tardes, ¿no?
She's done a lot of work and she's very exhausted.
You created this small team, no, of people, no, that were helping, no, in developing this project, no. And why you started this project?
Well, before you do that, I want you to point your camera at another phenomenal member of our team,
Well,
Gayur.
Say something.
Hello.
You are from where? From where?
Britain.
From Britain, no? And you are also part of the team, no, of Slavyangrad.
Basically, I started out as
You are
editing the English translations.
English translation, no?
Yeah, just to make them into better English.
Uh-huh. And then it's the first time that you are here, no? I mean, both of everybody, no? It's the first time that you are here in Donetsk, no?
Not me. It is true for the two other members of the team. No, I've been to Donetsk a number of times. Last time I was in Donetsk was in 2006. That was pre-war, obviously. It was a very different place. In a sense, it's even more beautiful now than I remember it, because it's built up since then. It continued to grow and expand. But obviously, it's become very different ever since the war started.
And then I wanted to you also you can park here because it's better for me. It will be interesting because you are also working on his project.
Yeah.
So you started. Tell me why you started this project. Why? What is the reason? Putin paid you?
Right. It had nothing to do with Putin, obviously. It had to do everything to do with Donbass. But you know, you asked me that question yesterday, and I gave it a lot of thought. And I can tell you right away that the past week that we've been in Donbass, I've been so overwhelmed with experience, with many varied experiences, that they've almost pushed out a lot of memories I had about the past 2 years out of my mind. I have this fresh appreciation of what's happening here. And so a lot of details that I would have liked to tell you about how I started this, how it came to me, I do not remember anymore. But I'll tell you the two that stick out. The first one is, well, it's kind of like this. When something happens around the corner from you, and that's something that what my friend Gayur told me. Something happens around the corner from you, some accident, somebody dies, something tragic happens. You cannot afford not to care,
Exactly.
right? And to me, this is around the corner. This is more than around the corner. This is where I've lived. This is my land. And this will forever be my land. Whatever happens here, I will never be able to leave it emotionally. My heart will always stay here, just like it is in Russia.
For you are a person that is totally integrated, no, in Vancouver society.
Sure.
You are a lawyer, no. Even even for your accent, it's impossible to recognize that you are even Russian. I have to say,
Well,
no.
Perhaps, yeah. I've had different guesses about my accent. I mean,
Well, really,
Right.
I mean, my accent is clear Spanish, no?
Sure.
That's what I mean. But it's very easy to recognize, no? But and then you started because emotional things, no? You saw the
Right.
television, no? The television was
Well, what
happening.
happened, and there's the second reason, and the second one is far more personal. My grandmother lived in Mariupol at the time the events here in Donbass started. And as I saw the events escalate, I realized that people in the Donbass will not stand for what's happening in Kiev. They will not just lie down, bow down, and they will not let it happen here. They will fight it. And as I realized that my grandma in Mariupol was vulnerable. She was in danger. And this was at the beginning of March 3rd, 2014, that I picked up the phone. It was late at night in Vancouver.
You called
I
her,
picked
no?
up the phone. I was visiting my parents at the time in Vancouver. I picked up the phone and I said, I need to get you out of Mariupol. And I mobilized everybody in Mariupol, all my relatives, friends, to get her out and move her across the border into Russia to live as my aunt. Now, a somewhat unfortunate thing happened. I found out that one of my aunts has different political views, to say the least. And that hit me really hard because I all of a sudden realized that even within families there will be a split. And that's how dangerous the situation became. Now, of course, my aunt would always protect my grandma, her mother. But that doesn't mean that other people in Mariupol would have cared to protect her. And so my first act of doing something about the conflict in Donbass was to move my grandma to safety. Once she was safe, obviously my interest continued to build. And I was reading the news. And once the defense of Slavyansk began, once Strelkov came there, it became impossible not to do something further. And that's when I started translating news reports. That's when I started trying to tell the rest of the world through the eyes of the people on the ground in Slavyansk first, then Donetsk, then elsewhere, Lugansk, and so forth. What is happening here, so that the world can look these people, can look my compatriots from Donbass in the eyes, and they can see that these are people who are suffering, and that the rest of the world is responsible to make sure they're safe. They're responsible for this suffering, and that's really the ultimate kind of message of Slavyangrad, and the reason we do what we do, to help people from elsewhere look people here in the eyes, in their face, and say, these are people we must defend and protect.
You consider yourself, or all of you, because yesterday I was singing songs of Sandinista Sandinista songs, the Sandinista, all Sandinista songs. You consider yourself like a leftist, no?
Yes, well,
progressive people, no?
More than that, it came to me a bit. It was quite a circuitous path, but I would say that as I am now, I am a communist.
You're a communist, no?
That's right, and there's really no other way I could define myself, or I could say what I am or what I believe in. It didn't come easy. My education, and liberal education in the West, in Canada, my economics education had little to do with communism. It was very much liberal economics, liberal legal theory. So it was a very different type of worldview than I currently hold. And so as the war in Donbass began in particular, I've had an opportunity to go back and re-examine what Karl Marx had said, what Lenin had written, Stalin had written, and to really kind of move myself along to where I want to be.
You are a lawyer from Vancouver that is communist, no?
Sorry? Yes.
That's it, no? This is your thing, no?
Credo, yes.
And then, probably they are maybe exotic, or they are. I think they are communists, no? They are as well, no? In Vancouver, no? In Canada, no?
No, they're not. They consider
the Communist Party in Canada.
Yeah.
That's about as much I can say about communism. There's several. There's also Marxist-Leninists, there's Trotskyite Party, but they're all very small, unfortunately. And whatever I can do to help them, I will. But they're not. Canada is liberal.
It's liberal, no?
It's a liberal country like the rest of the Western world is, like the rest of much of the world is. It's a liberal ideology that governs and dominates what we do in the West. And whether we consider ourselves left or right, we still adhere to the same liberal ideology in the way we govern.
And then I saw that you have a lot of, you have been very successful, no, with your blog, no? Because you have a lot of visits, no? This is the most important thing, no?
Right.
And then what are your objectives for the future? What do you are looking for, no? With this, what are you looking for? What do you think that you are going to continue posting in Slavyangrad till when?
Well, let me answer that, and maybe you can talk a little bit about our goals, as you understand, because I think it's an evolving process. We will continue posting. There is no ultimate limit to when we will stop or not continue. The project may transform itself naturally along other avenues and directions eventually, if the war in Donbass is resolved in peace, and if we no longer have that kind of role here that we need to fulfill. What do you think about where we want to go with Slavyangrad?
Well, it's difficult to say what any ultimate goal is, but
Your name is?
my name's Gayur.
Gayur, okay, Gayur. Gayur, you are coming from, you told me, no? You are British, no?
Yeah.
Citizen, no?
The goal, the intermediate goal, you could say, is that basically we wanted to create a space where people of Donbass can speak in their own voice. Obviously translated because English-speaking audience doesn't have access to Russian or Ukrainian media or language media. So, I mean, that's always been our main goal.
Goal, no?
In terms of an end goal, I don't really know. I mean, it depends how the situation develops.
And then you are at...
I can add a little bit, just to kind of add in. We've been talking a lot about where we want to take Slavyangrad. We talked about yesterday, late at night. And it's an evolving process. We don't really know exactly how to proceed, but we do know that we must build our own network. We must find people like yourselves, who are here and who can help us carry out this mission or carry the message from the people here to the rest of the world, right? We must build a network. We met people in Snezhnoye that we want to contact and see if they'll tell us their stories, and we continue publishing them. And what we really want to do at the moment is jumpstart the English section of the publication, because the Spanish one, guided by Nahia, is doing really well, right? They've really become the flagship publication. The English one has lagged, and we really need to work on ourselves to combat our own laziness, to combat our own disenchantment with certain aspect of what's happening, and really remember why we're doing this. And it's not for us, it's for everybody else here.
Yes, I want to you. And you think how do you think that this city is occupied by the Russians?
No.
No. Do you think that this is? Have you ever seen here Russian troops or people suffering here? Because according to some media, for instance in Finland, here the people is starving. It's occupied by violent gangs of Russian people. Right. What do you think? Tell me your point of view.
I've not seen people starving here. I've not seen Russian occupants here. I've seen Russians here.
Yeah.
There are Russian people who live here, right, that have not seen Russian troops here. I have seen here poverty, like I have seen in the rest of the world, like I see in Canada on a daily basis. I have seen a woman who asked me for money and was tremendously happy. Then I gave her a 100-ruble bill. That happened. I saw somebody who asked me to buy them food. That happened as well, but it's not something that has not happened to me many times in Canada, and in many other places of the world.
Well, this is a product of
a lot of the just to jump in, a lot of the problems with lack of things, which I actually don't find. There's plenty of food. There's plenty of things for the house. We were able to buy anything we wanted for the apartment. The real problem...
Get hold of medicines.
Yeah, we could get hold of medicines now, and a lot of it thanks to Russia that has been bringing in supplies again and again and again. But the real problem is the blockade from Ukraine. It's this indeterminate situation, this limbo that Ukraine has put this land, these people, by bombing them regularly, by killing them, by, in fact, perpetuating genocide of these people, by blocking supplies of food, by blocking supplies of medicine to these people who desperately need them. So if there are any problems, which I frankly have not seen, but if there are, they are attributable entirely to Ukraine's doing.
Well, I would like thank all of you for coming here to Donetsk, no, for all the work that you are doing, no, for let's say breaking, no, the wall, no, the wall that is around this conflict, no, that is mediatic wall. No? Me as well as a blogger, no, well, I am following your work, no. There is
You're following your work.
Yeah. And then, at least in Vancouver, I suppose that you are more free, no, to express yourself, no, than let's say.
I have no problem expressing myself in Vancouver. It doesn't mean that, or in Canada, it doesn't mean that I advertise where I live. It doesn't mean I have had threats from the Ukrainian part of the population in Canada. I've had threats to call the police, the secret services on me. I've been called terrorist, and I've been asked to go on a fight, mano-a-mano fight in the center of Toronto by some rabid Ukrainian nationalists. So things like that have happened. But government has not shut me down, in other words.
Well, and then the last thought, what do you have a message for, let's say, the leaders of the European Union? What do you think about the role of the European Union, not the United States, but the European Union in this conflict? What do you think the role?
Message for these people.
Any
What
message?
do they care about what we say? I mean, they're the ones who are doing this. You know, the thing is that a lot of people will say, oh, you need to let them know what's going on. They know what's going on.
Well,
European Union leaders are best ostriches that have put their heads in the sand and pretend like they see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, when the evil is being done by Ukraine to these people. Evil of genocide, frankly. As a lawyer, I can actually say that. And I have considered the question of whether this is genocide or not in a legal framework, and I believe it is, according to international law and the Genocide Convention. And at worst, the leaders of the European Union are actively assisting in this genocide. And that's something that they must consider as their as how they will be remembered by history in the future. If that's what they want to be remembered as perpetrators of genocide, or whether they want to be remembered as saviors of the people.
So the things that you saw in Kiev, the Maidan or whatever, all these UPA or UNO, whatever you call these organizations, the right sector, all these very open fascists. They had EU officials come and celebrate them, and tell them to keep going. The EU is the one that produces these kinds of.
Yeah, they are funding, they are supporting.
In Croatia, they did it in Bosnia, they did it in Slovenia, they do it in the Baltics.
Exactly.
Everywhere they've gone to basically to swallow countries of the former Eastern Bloc, they've done it by producing fascist movements.
Well, we're going to just finish. Just thank you for following us, or me especially. Thank you very much, Gleb, and thank you for all your work. And then see you around in the network. I know you are leaving, but we'll be in touch thanks to new technologies. And I guess we'll continue working in new.
We'll be back.
Yeah. And this summertime, be ready because we are going to organize the Donbass International Summer University. There is going to be a university, anti-globalist university, with the motto. The motto will be critical thinking. Critical thinking. And everybody is going to be invited. We will create even a site with the support of the university and also the government, local government here. Well, we have to work on that, but we have time. We have time now. It's perfect, no? And this is one of our wonderful projects, create a permanent summer university each year. People from around the world will come here to develop critical thinking and also alternative narrative.
Exactly.
To the official thing. Thank you, everybody. This is Gonzo Blogger. You know that I always,
blogger.
Yeah, always I am telling the truth. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will.